Welcome in, everyone. We're trying something different today, getting back to Dynasty fantasy football content. Today, I've got 5 Dynasty stashes for you. Let's jump into the first one. A.T. Perry. Now, he's probably not around in most of your leagues, but if it's a very shallow one, maybe he is there. Because he was a healthy scratch for the first 7 games. He kind of fell off the radar. But in the last 4 games, he's earned a little bit of playing time, especially once Michael Thomas went on IR. He had 84 and 74% snap shares the last 2 weeks, scored a touchdown in week 10. The Saints are probably not going to have Rashid Shaheed this week. Chris Olave is on the fence with concussion protocol. So you have to add A.T. Perry now, just in case he has a breakout this week. He's someone I kind of liked in the pre-draft process. He didn't get the draft capital that we wanted, but he's a good dynasty stash, especially as we look toward 2024. The next one, Noah Fant. And it's interesting. He's never really settled in since that trade to the Seahawks in 2022. He had a pretty good first 3 years to his career in Denver, but it felt like he was kind of a throw-in in that deal, and the Seahawks really didn't want him specifically. He was just a make-weight to kind of even out the value. He was their clear starting tight end in 2022, but he just had 486 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns, 50 receptions. And with Metcalf and Lockett dominating targets and Will Disley getting mixed in for playing time, he just didn't do enough to be viable for fantasy that year. Now, this year, it's gotten way worse because JSN has come in and is added to the target mix, bumping Fant down to number 4. And Geno Smith has regressed, although he's pretty good on Thursday. Essentially, it's reduced Fant to rubble, though. He did have 3 for 43 on 4 targets on Thursday night, which is why I included him in this video. He just turned 26 in November. It's young for a tight end. He's an unrestricted free agent this offseason. He is going to get a contract to be a starter somewhere. He is one of the best 32 tight ends in the NFL. I have no doubt about that. So he should be rostered in all dynasty leagues. He is in most because it's rare that someone would have released him. But I do think he's going to get some value when he signs elsewhere. And then I'd probably sell him. I'm not really a believer in Noah Fant, like as a high-end talent, but he's someone who I predict to gain value after free agency next offseason. So I want to stash him right now. Now, those first 2, they were they're rostered in most leagues. The rest of these guys actually might be on your dynasty waiver wires. So let's take a look. Andrei Iosivas, the 6th round rookie from Cincinnati. He's done almost nothing this year. He has 5 catches for 39 yards, but he has had 2 touchdowns. However, both T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are unrestricted free agents after this year. I still think the Bengals are probably going to find a way to keep T. Higgins and let Boyd walk. But who knows exactly what's going to happen. The Bengals also drafted Charlie Jones in the 4th round, but he's done nothing at all. I just like the idea that Iosivas has gotten on the field a little. He has been behind Trenton Irwin in the pecking order. But I think if and when Higgins and or Boyd leave this offseason, there will be some interest in Iosivas. He's on a high-powered offense with Joe Burrow. And there's a good chance he's been dropped now that Burrow's out for the year. I might, in a deeper dynasty league, roster him and just kind of see how the offseason plays out if he gets any hype and all of that. So he's my 3rd stash candidate. Now we're going to get even deeper for stash number 4. Patrick Taylor. Now, I understand probably some people don't know who Patrick Taylor is. He's a running back for the Packers. And it's beyond clear that this Packers running back room needs an overhaul. Aaron Jones, he turns 29 soon. He's been horrible this year. 3.7 yards per carry, constantly injured, not getting the receiving work, just 2.7 catches a game. I think Aaron Jones is washed up. He could easily be a cap casualty after this year. And A.J. Dillon has been even worse. 3.4 yards a carry, 19 total catches. He's never really been effective in his NFL career. He's an impending free agent. I can't imagine why they would re-sign him. So there's room for stash value in this backfield. I'm not saying that Patrick Taylor is going to do anything special, but Aaron Jones is out for this week. If somehow he bursts onto the scene. We want running backs who have potential to gain value on the back end of our dynasty rosters. Taylor has 11 targets this year, so he's at least somewhat capable in the passing game. He's worth the roster spot in the deepest of leagues, especially going into this week where he's going to have a role on the game day roster. Last one, and this is the deepest one. I think he's available in almost all leagues. Brevin Jordan. Now, if you remember, Brevin Jordan was a high-profile tight end prospect as a rookie before the 2021 NFL draft. But he fell to the 5th round due to a variety of concerns, athletics, a couple other things. In 2021, he was actually decent as a rookie under head coach David Culley. Played 9 games, 20 catches for 178 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Unfortunately, he had Lovie Smith as a head coach in 2022. Now DeMeco Ryans as a head coach in 2023. Hasn't really had any consistency, but last week he had a 43% snap share, saw a little bit of involvement in the receiving game, and then Dalton Schultz is going to be out injured this week. So maybe this is the time to stash Brevin Jordan. He's only 23 years old. But the key thing is, since he has a name that dynasty managers will remember, if he hits and if he does well, people will give him some value. So if he's on waivers in your league, deepest of leagues, maybe worth an add this week. Now, if you want all of my dynasty rankings where you can hear about all of these stashes and also other things, they're all available on my Patreon at patreon.com/fantasyadvice, which is in the top right corner of this video and also in the description down below. Additionally, only patrons get to ask advanced questions for the video. So I have 10 questions from patrons today. So let's jump into that right now. Are there any current backup quarterbacks in Dynasty that may get a starting job next year because they will be free agents or get traded? It's a good question. I would say I'm leaning no, actually. Like, I look at the backup quarterbacks and I'm not seeing anyone that there's no like starter in waiting like there's been in past years. Ryan Tannehill and Jimmy Garoppolo are probably the 2 most likely, but I'm going to lean no. I'm going to lean that there is no such player. Let's move on. What do you predict JSN's final stretch to end the year looks like? We saw on Thursday night that he was that review away from having like a monster game. I think they have to get him more involved. I think we see that JSN even right now is a better player than Tyler Lockett. I think we have to see that. So DK Metcalf is great, but they need JSN to be their wide receiver too. So I'm predicting that they make that happen. And that he's more of a wide receiver 3 down the stretch over unusable like he's been in the past. What wide receivers would you target if trying to tier up from Puka Nacua? And how does the Cooper Kupp injury saga affect moving off of Nacua? I'm not sure that I would move off of Puka Nacua. He's a strong hold for me right now. But if I'm going to move Puka Nacua, I want someone like maybe JSN, although that might be harder after his Thursday night game. I still prefer JSN over Puka. I think JSN is just a significantly better player than Puka Nacua. So he would be top of my list of wide receivers to target. What do you think Jonathan Taylor's end of season looks like? It seems like he'll be back in weeks 15 or 16 to see a plug and play at that point. With a thumb injury, if you're playing, I assume you're 100% healthy. So I'm not concerned about it like I would be about a knee or an ankle. So he was an RB1 when he was playing. If he comes back, I think he will be an RB1 for every game that he plays. So I'm 100% good with playing Jonathan Taylor the first week he comes back. I'm not concerned about a thumb in the same way as some other injuries. What do you think is most likely to happen with the Texans wide receiver room next year? It's a good question. No significant additions, drafted day 1 or 2, wide receiver, sign a major free agent wide receiver. I think they're all possible, but my guess is that there will be an addition that matters. I think someone like T. Higgins is possible on that level, at the highest possible level. They could easily draft a wide receiver in round 1. They could sign, they're all possible. Trade for somebody, sign Mike Evans is possible. There's so many possibilities. They have a lot of cap room. So I would say that Tank Dell, he was the guy drafted this year. He's a part of their plans. He's a big part of their plans. Nico Collins was drafted in 2021. This is year 3. After 2024, they're going to need to make a decision on him. He's a free agent for 2025. So he's someone I like and I think has proven that he's going to have a great NFL career. So I'm not moving off Nico Collins by any means, but I think he would be the one hurt more by an addition than Tank Dell. Tank Dell I'm not worried about at all. Of all the contract, season, franchise tag, major running backs, Saquon, Jacobs, Eckler, Swift, do you think any of them will find a better situation next year, or will they all likely be worse or neutral at best? Eckler, there's no better situation. I mean, there's nothing better than this offense for him. Eckler, I think, is pretty washed up. He looks terrible. So Eckler is a hard no. Josh Jacobs, I was going to say he's gone, but now with Antonio Pierce as the head coach, I think there's a higher chance that he stays and the situation would remain the same. I don't think it'll be better, but it'll remain the same. Maybe a better offense. Saquon, any situation is better than this one. So there's really no downgrade, but I lean that the Giants try to keep him around. DeAndre Swift is a prime candidate for the franchise tag. He's been good this year, kind of inconsistent, really doesn't have the track record for a long-term deal. I would expect him to be franchise tagged. He doesn't have a lot of leverage to fight it. So I would say he'll probably be back in Philly, I would say, on a franchise tag. Are Burrow's injuries a serious concern for his future? Is he a seller or hold for rebuilding dynasty teams? Zero concern, and he is a buy for rebuilding dynasty teams. But zero concern about his injuries. And then we have a few questions, getting to know the real me. What is your favorite meal? Oh, we don't want to know the answer to this. I eat very healthy. I like eating a lot of turkey. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday for that reason. Yeah. What non-fantasy related activity do you enjoy? I play a lot of board games. I love working out. I like playing sports every once in a while. I do play some football. I used to play soccer. Hurt my foot a couple of times a few years back, so I haven't really played as much since then. But yeah, walking around. I live in New York City, so love walking around the city. That's another one that I really enjoy. And just kind of hanging out with friends. I'm a very extroverted person. I don't know if that comes across on the show or not, but I'm very, very extroverted. So I love spending time with people, even if we're not doing anything like super special. Like I just like hanging with friends. Like I can hang with friends for like 6-7 hours. No problem. Who's your favorite music artist right now? I'll be really honest and say I don't listen to a lot of music. I listen to a lot of podcasts, fantasy related and otherwise. But music artist, just for Travis Kelce, I'll say Taylor Swift, even though it's not really Taylor Swift. But I appreciate all the patrons for getting in all those questions. Remember, patreon.com/fantasy advice if you want to sign up. And let me know what you think of this video. If you want me to do more Dynasty content, I know that's generally my specialty. We'll see if you guys like it. Again, leave likes, comments, especially with any feedback. And of course, subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be doing more of this Dynasty content as we hit the off season. This is going to be a regular type of series. But until next time, I will see you all later. Peace out.